Hello, my name is Dan Lowe.
And I'm Patricia. I'm Danu's associate.
Just in case this is the first time you're watching this video, we did a video just last week titling Shut Your Brain Off. So I don't know if you shut your brain off for 60 seconds. I don't know if you watched that before. If not, I suggest that you can go and watch the video on either on our YouTube page or on our Facebook page. Okay?
And by the way, we have been working together since 1993, and we are a training organization.
Yes, Patricia and I have been together for quite some time now. So it started off with my first intensive research, which took three years to find out why when there are two groups of people, both with the same talent and motivation, one group systematically outperformed the other. And from then on, we created webinars to train people how to be more effective, how to maximize their potential. Okay, today we're going to talk about a firewall. If you saw the image of the page, there's a man whose head is bowed down. He looks like he's got some problems. He's depressed, whatever. It's simply because he's not protected by a psychological firewall. All right. Now,
and you're going to discover the firewall tonight, and
right.
You'll be able to install it, and you'll see how incredible it is and what results it gives in our lives.
Yes. How do I start first? Okay. Very simple. If you have a computer, obviously you're protected by a virus system. But imagine if you don't have a virus system, what's going to happen? You risk getting your computer infected by viruses, and it will slow down, it becomes sluggish, or it might just crash. While our mind is the same as a computer. It works exactly the same, but a million times better. So the first thing you want to do is to scan your brain or to scan your computer and deactivate them.
Well, we mean that in our computer, in our brain, we got thoughts. And some of these thoughts are destructive. Some of these thoughts impede us from going forward. They can paralyze us without even us knowing. So we want to be able to identify those thoughts. And after that, we're going to disarm the thoughts.
Yeah, that means that we're going to scan it first. So think of a situation you were in where you were angry, you were depressed, or you lost confidence. All right? Now, play back that situation. And now you want to identify the thoughts that attack you. Imagine you're asked to give a speech in public in front of people, and your legs are shaking like my legs were shaking a long time ago when I was asked to speak in front. So what kind of thoughts that could attack us? It could be, hey, everybody's looking at you. Everybody's looking at you. What are they going to think? You can make a fool of yourself. Or you're not good enough. You're not good enough. Everybody's looking at you. So those are the thoughts you want to note it down on a piece of paper. Okay, when I did my research work, I was interviewing people one-on-one and sometimes in groups, and they all had the same thoughts, whether it's in Asia, whether it's in Europe. Everybody on earth has the similar thoughts, okay? So you want to identify these thoughts. These thoughts are what you call viruses. So if you don't identify it, it's inside your computer, inside your brain, and it risks playing back each time.
Yeah, it will come back. As long as we have not disarmed those thoughts, they will come back in various situations. And
it's fun. It's fun to it's called, for those who want to use it, it's called search and destroy. Search and destroy, or scan and deactivate it. This is a necessary exercise. And it's fun because you're going to recall back to situations where you felt timid or you felt discouraged, and then you note it down. What makes you discouraged? Hey, it's always the same thought. You're not good enough. What are people going to think? What's going to happen? You're going to lose. What's going to happen? You're going to lose.
And we're going to, if we do it in writing, we're going to note down the emotions that are going with it. with the thoughts.
Okay.
Because behind each thought, there are emotions, and behind every emotion, there is a thought.
Right. You can be honest with yourself. Nobody's going to look over your shoulder and say, hey, you got that thought? No. Do it quietly in a room and just go through all the situations where you were attacked by those thoughts. Even CEOs are attacked by thoughts. Anybody on earth here is attacked by thoughts.
Yeah, and there is a bunch of thoughts which we call the gang of four.
Right.
You know, and it's you want, you can't, what's going to happen, you're going to lose.
Yes.
And those thoughts are recurrent. In some given situations, we may be attacked by those thoughts. So we really want to reason with those thoughts. That's how we disarm them. We reason with the thoughts, asking ourselves questions. Why do you think so? What makes you think so? How did you come to that conclusion? How come you can be so sure about what's going to happen? You know, after all, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Nobody knows for sure. You know, we just imagine. And if we imagine the worst case scenario, then, and we live it right now, it's just imagination. It's not reality. Reality may be totally different. We don't have all the data to come to the conclusion now, see? So we reason with the thoughts. And I've done it. When I first met Dan, I had plenty of those thoughts in my head, and I really had to do a big work on it. And each time, after, you know, writing my little story, my emotions, how I was feeling upset or whatever, and the thoughts that were linked to it, and to reason with them, you know, then I was laughing in the end. Can you imagine?
And she was watching other people, top CEOs, multimillionaires who come for business here. But Patricia was an interpreter for 11 years. She ran a very successful company, and she accompanies all these powerful people to the meetings, and they say the same thing happening to these people. They're not good enough. Yeah. Okay, for instance, a multimillionaire would come to Europe to have a business meeting with a billionaire, and just because that guy is a billionaire, it kind of intimidates the multimillionaire because he hasn't got a billion. So they behave like they're not good enough.
Yeah, they were feeling not good enough compared to the person they had in front.
And of course, Patricia cannot say, hey, look, you're feeling you're not good enough. No, she just had to interpret what she was told to do.
Yeah, okay? Because I had been trained by Dan before, associating with him. So, you know, I've been knowing the thoughts for a number of years.
Yeah, and she used the tool, you know, in the beginning when she was prospecting for clients. She didn't know how to do it, but she never thought how to prospect for clients. And with just these tools, by deactivating the thought, she was able to go to all the concierge in Paris, to all the big hotels, the Ritz, the Maurice, the George V, all the big hotels, and talk to the concierge with complete ease.
Yeah, what are they going to think? I don't know. You know, after all, I'm just proposing my services. You know?
And they would come up and show, look, you're an interpreter. Look at the list. We have all these people here, you know, and we cannot call you. And Patricia just gives them a big smile and then goes back 3 weeks later. Say, hey, hello, I'm here. And eventually they call her to hire her. So see, it was fun because she was able to deactivate those thoughts that was kind of causing a lot of people anxiety or fear.
Or despair, you know.
Yeah. So it's very simple. Just think of a situation whereby you felt uneasy, or that you were worried, or you were angry, or you were mad at something. Often when you're mad at something, it's because they should, he should, you shouldn't have this attacking our brain. Okay? So you note it down and then you reason with it.
You reason with the thoughts objectively. The objective in your mind is not to destroy the thought, though it's going to be the result. But the objective is to reason objectively, to be objective. And when you are objective with the thoughts, you're going to see that they have no foundation, no solid foundation. Therefore, they're going to diminish in intensity. They may come back a second time or a third time, but they will be less strong. And in the end, some of the thoughts are just going to disappear. you know, and you're going to be at ease in situations, you know, at ease with people, at ease with some events happening, and you can even provoke things.
There are two categories of thoughts. We call them monkeys and gorillas. The gorillas are the real heavyweight one. You know, when they attack you, bang, and you feel bad for a long time, and you can feel very strong emotion. And then there are monkey sorts, like, hey, say something, don't say something,
do something.
Yeah, don't just stand there like an idiot. Say something, and you feel uneasy. How many of you have been to got into a lift and a lift and you're confronted with a stranger and you felt uneasy? Well, I had that thousands of times, you know, or even during dinner when everybody stopped talking, there was silence, and I'm the idiot who came up and broke the silence, because inside there the little monkey say, hey Dan, hey, say something, come on, say something, do something. You know, I was not able to handle silence.
Well, I want to say that it's okay to talk or to break the silence if you feel like it, but if you feel obliged to talk and you say anything that comes to your head, you know, and you feel at ease, then it means you've been attacked by the thoughts.
Okay, so you know how to do it now, how to scan your brain, how to deactivate them now. And next thing you need to do is to install a firewall.
And that's a great tool. Right. I can tell you, I've been using it, and it's my darling.
And with this firewall, absolutely you eliminate all fear. Fear of what people are going to think, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of any kind of fear. All right? Because you got a firewall that protects your brain. It protects all the monkeys and the gorillas from attacking us. Okay? It's really foolproof. And they can, you can have a 24/7 protection if you do it well. And this is how you're going to do it. So the concept is called weeweenoo. It stands for yes, yes, and no.
And you got to apply the 3 elements to for the tool to function.
Right. Yeah. 3 elements: yes, yes, and no. And we're going to explain to you what the first yes is. The first yes stands for yes, you are important. You're important as a human being. Okay? You're not important because you have some fancy car, you're driving around fancy car, you live in a fancy neighborhood. No, that's what society kind of
leads us to think.
Right. So if you got money, you got a beautiful home, you got a nice job, you got a position, you got recognition, you're important. No, not that. Not in what we're teaching here. You're important the way you are.
Yeah, because if you had all these and you lost all these, you know, these things, would you be important still, or wouldn't you be important?
Yeah. You're important even if you're not contributing to anything. You're not being useful. You're still important. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Take, for example, an empty chair. An empty chair. Is that empty chair useful? Well, it's empty. So some people might say that, well, it's not useful because it's empty. But along comes somebody who is very tired. His legs are kind of weak, and he needs to rest. He needs to sit down. Well, the chair is very important. Whether somebody sits on it and not, or have not sat on it, the chair is important simply because it exists. It's just like us. We don't have to do anything. You can lie in bed all day. You're still important. In our eyes, you're important. To society, you're not. Okay, so it's very important that you believe that you are important. It doesn't matter what you do or not do, or whoever you are. Okay? Give you another example. A piece of stone lying on the ground. Is that piece of stone important? Boy, you bet it's very important. If for any reason one day you're chased by a ferocious animal who's going to rip you apart, well, that piece of stone is all your security. You can pick it up, hold in your hand. It's all you got. All the confidence is in that piece of stone because you can defend yourself, right? A few minutes ago, you see the piece of stone and you say, well, what's this piece of stone lying there? Okay, you don't even think about it. But that piece of stone lying there exists, hence it's important. All right? So, I'm going to give you another example, how society treats people. I got a client who's the CEO of a multinational, and he had some great kids, except one, whom he considered a black sheep. Well, this son, he loves to play music. He loves to go out in the street to fight. You know, he doesn't care about money. He doesn't care about getting a career. He does what he wants, and what he wants is to play music and meet people in the street. And he often gets into a fight just for that reason. So the father disowned him. His father is ashamed of him. You know, he said, how did I manage to raise a son
like that?
Yes, it's a disgrace to the family. And you know, since he's got some moral responsibility, he has to meet with his son. And you know where he meets his son? In a parking lot, in a public parking lot. He's ashamed to be seen with him. All right? He's ashamed to be seen with him. And one day he had a meeting with the son in the parking lot. And the daddy, he was attacked by 4 guys in masks. He was beaten up with sticks and he was robbed. They were really going to kill him because he was viciously attacked. And who comes along? His son. His son was late. He had a meeting with the daddy, but he was late. And he came with his guitar and he went after the 4 guys. He really smashed the 4 guys with his guitar.
And he saved his father's life.
Right. And you know what happened? 3 weeks later, he invited his son to meet with the members of the board. And you know how he introduced his son? Say, hey guys, I want you to meet my hero. It's the first time he was proud to introduce his son to the members of the board. He said, here's my hero. He saved my life. That changed his attitude vis-a-vis his son. Okay? He has respect for his son now. And he let his son do what he wants to do. Okay? So the son was always important. Whether he saved the father's life or he didn't, he was always important.
Just because he existed, he was there.
Okay. That's another example. The case of an illegal immigrant. He's walking down the street. He's illegal in the country. He has no job, nothing, no money. You might think, hey, this guy is
not
whatever.
Important.
Right, he's not important. And yet, this man, he saw a little boy dangling up in a 4-story building, dangling. The boy is just about to fall, from a 4-story. You know what he did? He climbed up the building. This man called Mamadou, his video was
broadcasted all over.
Yeah, all throughout the world.
He was risking his life to save the little boy's life.
And he did it just because it's natural for him. He went up to 4 stories, risking his life, and saved that little boy. Is that man, that illegal immigrant, important? He is very important. Whether he saved the boy, he didn't save the boy. He has always been important. But society is not going to see you that way. Because society is going to think that you're important if you're driving a nice car, you're well dressed, and so on.
And by the way, this man afterwards received papers and was given a medal by the government, by the French government, because it happened in France. But you see, he was important, and yet we wouldn't consider him as important. So it gives us another vision of people. People are important because they exist, you know. If somebody falls in front of you, what are you going to do? You're going spontaneously to help that person. If you see a person having an accident, what are you going to do? You're going to call the fireman or the hospital, you know, so, or the ambulance man, and you may save that person's life just because you were there. It doesn't matter how many diplomas or degrees you have or what your position in life is. You know, it's just as a human being, you can be there at the right time, the right place, you know, and do something for somebody.
Let me tell you this story about a incredible story about a very violent prisoner. He was locked in prison. He had solitary confinement for days, weeks, and months. He had nobody visit him. This man is violent, yes. And that's why he was isolated. And nobody ever visited him for months. And one day, a fly flew into the window and landed on his naked belly. Did he kill it? No. He watched it in fascination. It's the first time somebody came in and touched him, touched his skin. So he observed it. He observed it for minutes and hours. He was following the fly all through in the cell. He didn't harm the fly. He was so happy he had a fly who came to visit him. Now when it really choked me. This prisoner was, the way he was speaking about this fly, he had a lot of emotion. I can carry that emotion because I could be that prisoner. Nobody touched that prisoner. And there's a fly that landed on him. And ever since he got out of prison, he wouldn't harm a fly. Mm. He wouldn't harm any animal. So that fly was very important. Very, very important. It gave comfort to that lone prisoner. That's another example. I mean, there are lots and lots of examples of people who are really important, but society has brainwashed them, brainwashed us into thinking that they're not important. So these are just a few examples, okay? The yes is, yes, you're important. Each time we walk down the street, you're important because there's a smoke coming out from the windowsill. You're the one who can call the fire brigade to save the building, to save the millions of dollars from that's worth in that building, and also to save the people in the building.
You're important to shopkeepers. You help them survive in their businesses. We are not aware of it. But when we go into a shop and we buy something, we help the owner of the shop. And we also help all the salespeople there because they are paid because they are clients. And we are one of the clients.
If you have a cat or a dog, you're important to the cat and the dog. If you've got a goldfish, you have to feed the goldfish. The goldfish is, you may not speak the same language, but the goldfish, I'm sure, appreciates that you put a piece of bread inside his tank or his bowl.
All right. You're important to your kids, if you got kids, to your husband, to your wife, to your friends. You are important to everybody. Yes. You are important to the farmers too, because you buy food that has been transformed but comes from their farms. So you are important to them. And afterwards, you got the second yes. The second yes, other people are important, as equally important as you are, just for the same reasons.
Yeah, and just before we talk about the second yes, in society, let's take for instance this man, he wanted to be, he wanted acceptance, he wanted to be a millionaire, and the day he became a millionaire, he joined a club, a millionaires club. But the day he joined a millionaires club, he realized that there were 100 millionaires in there, and he suddenly felt like he was nobody. Because the richest man in there had 100 million, and while they were having lunch, he felt like Nothing. Okay? And he was ashamed to be there because he, out of 100 millionaires, he had just one lousy million. See, he's been taught to play the numbers game. The more you have, the more important you are. And the man, the richest man in that room, the man with 100 million, well, you know what? He felt the same as him because you know how he came to that millionaires club? Through the back door. He doesn't want to be seen through the front door because up there in that hotel on the 5th floor, there was a billionaires club. He would rather be seen taking the escalator up to the billionaires club. So he felt like a loser too. Even if he's running the millionaires club, he felt like a loser because he's playing the numbers game. And you're never going to be important, no matter how much you make, okay, if you're playing the numbers game.
Or if we compare to others.
Right.
Because we are always going to find somebody who has got more than we have, or who's got something we don't have. But we don't see that this person may not have what we have. See? We just see what we don't have.
So stop comparing, stop playing the numbers game. It's for losers. The numbers game's for losers. I've been in business for more than 40 years. I've met a lot of wealthy people, and I can tell you that they're all in the numbers game. All right? They're all in the numbers game. All of us have been brainwashed by society that the more you have, the more important you are. That's a lot of bullshit. You want to kick that bullshit out or kick that virus out. You're not good enough, and replace with the fact that you are important. And other people are equally important. They're all important. Each time you feel good, it's because people have contributed to your happiness.
Like I said, farmers are important to us, you know, for what they bring to us. People who sow are important to us, you know. Our neighbors can be important. Imagine they come back one night and we're not there, and they see somebody who is trying to burglarize our apartment or house. And because of their presence, the burglar goes away. See? Or somebody, we are, for example, we are going into the metro, you know, and there is nobody, and it's late at night, so we're not feeling too safe, and somebody comes in, you know, and it's a woman, for example. She comes in and she sits, and we feel reassured because there is somebody in the wagon. See? So people are important. Even if they are not aware, they're important.
They're all very important. I say it again. I want to repeat it again. Each time you feel good, look, this shirt, I didn't make it. My shoes, I didn't make it. The things in my apartment, I didn't make it. It was contributed by tons and tons of people. When I go and have dinner, all right, on my table, there are sauces from all over the world. Okay, they were made by people. If I want to go into a restaurant to eat, there's a chef there standing all day ready to prepare a dish for me. So they are important. And like when I listen to jazz music, you know, I would tune it for an hour and listen to jazz music. All the musicians, whether they are alive or dead, they have contributed to my happiness, right? Whether they know it or they do not.
Are you starting to feel how you feel when you have this perception?
Yes. So everybody that passes by you, they are important. They are very important. They can save your life. Right?
When we have this perception, we are more joyful. We have a smile, you know. Just this afternoon, I went shopping, and a woman stopped me and she said, "Oh, you got this smile. Keep this smile. It's good to have a smile in the street." You know, just like that. It's amazing. You know, and I was feeling good, and she was feeling good because she saw me smiling.
Yeah.
So it's incredible, simple things like that, but they can make your day.
Yeah, when you apply this concept, you're untouchable. All right. Those viruses stay away from you. So you are important, other people are important. I'm going to teach you how you do this, how you practice this. Yeah. All right. So you got we, and you got to make a decision, which is no. This is a very important decision. No. You got to say no. No, you don't want to be liked. That's a decision we got to make. No, what do you want to be liked for? You're already important. It doesn't make sense to want to be liked. And yet, every single day, every single month, we are devising strategies to want to be liked, to want to be accepted. You know how much time we waste? Incredible amount of time that we waste in an activity where we don't need to. We're devising ways to attract people. What do we need to be attracted to? What do we need to attract people for?
Well, it doesn't mean we're not going to attract people. It doesn't mean we're not going to be liked by people. But the point is not to do things to be liked by them. Because if we say yes when we want to say no, how are we going to feel? Do we feel good? And do we feel good vis-a-vis that person? No. We may even resent that person to whom we said no. But this person had nothing to do with our resentment. It's because we were not able to say no to her. And why weren't we able to say no to her? Because we want to be liked.
Right.
Can you imagine? So it's a vicious circle. And we do that plenty of times. And it makes us feel bad.
You know, I would say that 90% of your time are wasted to trying to unconsciously please other people. I've seen companies that went down the drain because the CEO is not able to say no. I've just read some very devastating reports of CEOs not being able to say no to the shareholders, okay, to investors. And they let the company down the drain. Big, major companies. So when we decide not to be liked, it doesn't mean that if somebody likes us, well, we're going to push them away.
No, it's good to be liked too.
No, it's a VIP that's, you know,
Sure.
It's a VIP liking you. You got to respect that he's a VIP, so you accept what he's offering.
Of course. And you know what? When we don't want to be liked, when we don't search to be liked, people like us more.
Right.
They respect us more. You know,
Yes.
It's incredible. Have you seen some people who say yes all the time? They are nice to people, and other people, they despise them. Other people, they play with them. Other people are not even grateful. And they in turn don't feel good because they say, well, I'm nice, and how come he or she is like that? But they are nice because they want to be liked. It's just like an exchange. And it shouldn't be, you know. It doesn't mean that sometimes because we have to be tactful in some situations, we are going to say things a certain way that we wouldn't naturally say. But it's because of a strategy in that case. It's not because we want to be liked, you know. So it's totally different. But in our day-to-day life, we don't need to be liked, you know. We just need to be ourselves. And when we're ourselves, we feel good. And when we feel good, it's contagious. Other people feel good, you know. So it's really a virtuous circle.
Just an example, when I first lost a front tooth, I accepted it. Why do I need to prove that I got a good set of teeth? Then I lost again the other teeth. I still accepted it. And I can still buy it.
Well, we're not advising you to do that, and I'm not, in fact. But just to show you that, okay, we are important as we are, whatever we do, whatever we choose to do, and we don't need to do things to be liked by others. In fact, you know, people, they're going to like us for what we are, not for what we try to be. We force ourselves to be, and we are not.
And I tell you, there's a ton of breaks that goes off your back. You're going to be as slick as hell. And then you're going to float like a butterfly, and you're going to be able to sting the bee. But I will tell you about this concept, float like a butterfly, or sting the bull with 3 bees. That's got to do with time management, and we're going to talk to you in just a few seconds. Okay, so you got to have these 3 decisions anchored in us.
Yeah, and we got to apply them, the 3 at the same time.
Yeah.
You are important as a person. Other people are important, and you don't search to be liked. Okay. And when you play the 3, then you feel really great. You feel relief. You feel you can be yourself. you feel happy.
So how do you do this exercise? You're going to do it 3 times a day till you get to reflex. 3 times a day, you're going to schedule in your smartphone. The minute it rings, and you're in a queue, for instance, whether you're in a restaurant, wherever you are, the phone rings, it's weeweenoo time, all right? So you say to yourself, hey, I say to myself, Dan, you're important, man. And the person in front of me or behind me, he or she is important. So I can turn around and say, hey, hello there. Or the person's having a book in his hand, I say, what are you reading? Tell me, what are you reading? Or how long have you been coming to this restaurant? What are you eating today? Maybe you can recommend me some dishes. You talk as if he's a buddy. In fact, you're talking to a VIP. The person is very important. And this is the first time we met this person. He's a VIP. So you have absolutely no fear. If he doesn't want to answer to you, if he gives you a funny look, hey, the stranger's trying to talk to me, that's no problem because you decided in advance you don't want to be liked by nobody.
So you don't fear rejection.
Right.
But in fact, when you have this attitude, I can tell you that it hardly ever happens that people reject you.
Right.
They don't reject you. It's incredible, you know. I've noticed that when we apply that tool, we talk to somebody like we know the person naturally after a while when we've been practicing. And what happens is that the other person talks to you as if she or he has been knowing you too. You know,
it's because
it's
of your
like
vibration.
Two friends are talking. There is absolutely no fear in you, and there is no fear in the other person. There is no hesitation. You know, it's quite incredible. All this because of we know. Yes, yes, no.
You can talk to anybody, up, down, sideways, with no fear and fully at ease, fully confident. Patricia, she talks to everybody.
Yeah, that's what I admired in Dan when I met him. You know, when I met him, he could talk to anybody, anywhere in the street. Even in the street, you know, he would feel like talking to somebody, who go to the person. And the amazing thing is that people did not reject him. So I thought it's impossible. How does he do it? So I wanted to find out, and he told me. And it's true that when you apply it, you feel the same, and the same happens to you.
Can you imagine? You do that just 3 times a day as an exercise, okay? The thing rings, hey, you're important. You're not more important. You're important. And whoever's in front of you, next to you, is important. If you feel like talking, you just talk. Now, if you talk to 3 persons a day, that's 15 people a week. That's 60 people you've got to know. You have access to their computer. You have access to their knowledge.
60 people a month.
You have access to their what you call their friendship.
Yeah.
Without any problems. All right. You're not afraid of people with money or who's rich. You're not afraid of people who is poor and down and out.
Yeah.
You treat them the same. They're all VIPs.
And you know, if you got a problem with a neighbor, for example, you just play, yes, I'm important. The neighbor is important, and you don't need to be liked. I don't need to be liked by the neighbor. Just playing that, and then you go and knock on the door and explain the problem, and normally it goes on fine. You know, we don't have anger or whatever. We just go and objectively explain the problem and see how the person could help. See? So it eases up a lot of things. It solves a lot of situations, a lot of problems, and we feel good.
And this has been tested over 30, 40 years now from our students. Before they were not, they didn't have the courage to go and knock on the neighbor's door or to complain about something, all right? And now with weeweenoo, if they bought some goods that they're not happy with, they're not fully satisfied, they go back to the saleswoman and say, listen, I want a refund. This thing is not working. And if the salesperson kicked up a fuss and didn't want a refund, this person would go up to see the general manager, all the way up to the top. Say, can I have a refund, please? Because I'm not satisfied. They have the courage, they have the confidence to do this. Whereas in the past, they would just
abandon. They would just abandon, and they would feel bad. They would feel resentment.
And then they would blame it on the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
when you hear somebody criticizing some other person, okay, simply because it's easier to criticize, and simply they don't have a good attitude towards the person they're criticizing. All right? I'll give you this very powerful example for one of our clients who was promoted. So she was very happy. She had twice her pay. The day she was promoted, she was very enthusiastic, but all her colleagues were not that happy with the promotion. They said, why her? Why not us? And they started to giving her a lot of problems to the extent that she wanted to leave the job. So one night she came to our meeting, our Friday night meeting, and I said, where's your weeweenoo? And she said, oh God, I forgot about that. Okay, because she was perceiving her colleague as not okay, that was her enemies. And we got her to change her illusion, that she has to perceive her colleagues as important, very important, and herself as important, and that she does not need to be liked. So the next day she went back with this attitude that all her friends are very important, and she treated them as such. All her colleagues. She treated them as such. And she wanted something, she go and ask them. But she disagree with something, she tells them. She's not afraid, but she didn't need to be liked.
And you know what? After 3 weeks,
yes,
she won them over, and her colleagues accepted her as their new boss.
And you know how we got her to do it? All right. We said, listen, you just go and apply the weeweenoo in the morning, okay? And then you call us at 12 o'clock, tell us how you feel about this concept, okay? How in practice. And then she did. She called us. I said, well, how did you feel applying the concept? She says, well, it's funny because they don't know how to dance with me. They don't know how to work with me. I was perfectly normal. And then I said, okay, do it in the afternoon and call us at 6 o'clock before you leave the office. So when she called us, I said, well, how did you feel? She said, the same thing I had. You know, I'm feeling fine. I said, you still want to leave your job? He said, no, but I'm going to try it tomorrow again. So she did it day by day, okay? And then the third week, all her colleagues accepted her as her boss. That's the power of weeweenoo. Of course, there are things that are very important, which is time management. And we have a concept called Sting the Bull with 3 Bs. And you can learn how to do Sting the Bull with 3 Bs, because time and energy is your most precious assets. And if you waste your time and energy, then you're not going to get where you want to go.
Not only that,
yes,
but if we manage our time well, we are going to be less bothered by some of our thoughts, you know, like, what must you do? You haven't done this. You must finish that. What's going to happen? You're going to be late, you know. If we manage our time well, those thoughts are less likely to attack us. So we feel better, you know. And during the webinar on time management, we learn not only a unique method to manage our time well, that's never been taught anywhere else.
yes.
And it's very simple.
It's called Sting the Bull with 3 Bs.
So it's funny too, see.
Yes.
And our students have been applying it, you know, for years, and they feel totally different. They feel like they got plenty of time, you know, and they do their job, and they don't procrastinate anymore. On top of that, we teach communication, because communication may make us waste time. So it's important to know how to communicate in order not to waste time.
And how to say no.
This is part of time management.
And we'll put a link in there so you can go and take a look at what's going on for this webinar. Just before we leave you, let me remind you that I was explaining this concept at a conference for more than 100 ambassadors at the UNESCO. And when I explained this concept, everybody laughed. And they thought it was impossible. It's too simple. They said, this is too simple. I said, you got to try it before you say it's impossible.
We're talking about time management.
We're talking about time management.
Yeah.
So this concept is very powerful. Go take a link here, this link here, and go check it out.
By the way, they were convinced in the end.
Oh yeah, they were.
Just like plenty of other people were convinced that it works. When they try it, it works.
It's a question of getting the time ratio right and getting your priorities right. And once you have that right, you know, every day is just like a vacation. It's really true. Every day is like a vacation.
Yeah.
And when I first introduced this to Patricia, she says, well, you know, you went on and you had some problems understanding because it was too simple. And then when I sat down to find out what our priorities are right, when she got her priorities are right, then absolutely, she has absolutely no problem in managing her time.
And so in that webinar, we also learn how to identify our real priorities.
Right. This is very important.
It's important, yes.
So you can go and take a look at the link and find out more. And to sum it up,
right.
I just have just a few slides that we're going to play. Okay, just to remind you of what we just talked about. And this is going to be this video is going to be uploaded to YouTube and also to Facebook, my Facebook page. So feel free to share it if you think it's going to help. It's going to help somebody. Okay, and we want to thank you all for responding to our first video, which is shut your brain off in 60 seconds.
And if you have not watched it, then go and watch it. Because with this tool, weeweenoo, and with the tool we explained in the first video, we are already all set for a very good life.
Right. So have a great time wherever you are. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you again. Okay?
Yes. So have a good day or good evening, and good weeweenoo.
Yeah. So say bye-bye for you for the time being.
Bye.
Bye.